Hey, can we please let Gizmo in? She wants back in. Thank you. Sit. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. This is a live extreme weather briefing with satellite imagery shown here on the Radar Omega app, along with those alerts, those winter weather alerts. And the low to winter storm warning is up here in central lower Michigan. That includes Big Rapids, Ludington areas, just off to the north of the Grand Rapids area, but south of the Traverse City area, where those winter storm watches were issued earlier. Only looks like a few inches of snow up there in Traverse City. But one thing I told my uncle is that usually these storms have a tendency to overproduce on the northern side, so definitely watch out for that. Here you can see this little lead disturbance right now that's trucking through eastern Nebraska into Iowa, spreading out a couple little high clouds here. Not a lot of precipitation. The main core of the jet definitely coming out of the central Rockies there. Winter weather advisories include the Omaha area as well. Looks like a general swath of about 2 to 5 inches out there through the winter weather advisory area. That includes Des Moines. We're going to show you all kinds of snow maps as well later on today. And then there's another system coming in behind it that looks like it's going to bring some snow to Oklahoma City, maybe several inches of snow, especially to the northwest of Oklahoma City. But this right here looks like a massive winter weather advisory. This winter storm warning is for 2 to 9 inches of snow, 4 to 9 inches of snow now, with some icing mixing in. Some of those other short fuse models, like the HRRR, was showing in excess of a foot in this swath of snow. But the HRRR overdoes those snowfall accumulations despite those upgrades. Seems to be related to its allowance of convection as well. That probably is an issue. But the European and GFS models seem to be more in line with about a 4 to 8 inch stripe of snow ramping up here across western Michigan. Can show you that there's not a lot of precipitation falling underneath any of those high clouds. And there it is, starting to get some precipitation moving out of eastern Iowa there. And there's some of that precipitation as well in that winter weather advisory area. Accumulating snowfall most likely across the higher terrain. Really snowfall up to about an inch. But man, it looks like this is for northern New Mexico, doesn't it? For the mountains of northern New Mexico for that alert. There it is. Rain and snow will spread from northeast Iowa into southwest Wisconsin this morning. Precipitation changing to all snow tonight, continuing Saturday morning. 2 to 4 inches of snow with locally higher amounts possible. But let's dig in deeper into the models, into this. This is just satellite imagery and those alerts. We'll pull up the forecast models. We'll also analyze the slight risk for severe weather across East Texas that's happening downstream of this trough. Here you can see the parent trough. A lot of flow on its backside, which is going to cause this trough to intensify as it ejects from the mountains there, from the southern Rockies. But this is the first storm system that's going to spread snow from eastern Nebraska through Iowa, southern Wisconsin, and a lot greater snowfall totals out there in basically central lower Michigan. Please stop texting me. Good grief. I'm in the middle of a weather briefing right now. So here you can see the surface low lifting out of eastern Kansas. This is at 17Z this morning. This is right around midday, so that's right now it's what, 10:40 Eastern time. Relatively weak surface low that's going to intensify though as it lifts off to the northeast. And this rain that's in Iowa is going to gradually pick up in intensity. That precipitation is going to spread into southern Iowa too by middle to late, or southern Wisconsin by middle to late afternoon. And then the lower atmosphere is going to moisten and cool. It's going to wet bulb, as we call it. Initially, when this precipitation falls in a drier environment, the temperature decreases, the dew point rises to the wet bulb temperature, and that wet bulb temperature is usually cold enough to support frozen precipitation. This is at about 4 p.m. out here in southern Wisconsin, so let's pull up a sounding really quickly. This shows here that it is wet bulbed. Here you can see the 0 line. Not much in the way of a warm nose, as you can see. Basically, this entire profile is near or below freezing. You're going to have snowflakes falling through, and then the lower atmosphere here is above freezing. So initially, there could be some melting, some rain-snow mix. You've got these northeasterly winds at the surface, but these surface temperatures should fall as we go through the evening, and then that'll eventually change over to a period of snow that's going to continue through the night tonight. You're going to need some dynamical cooling there, some wet bulbing, a little more reinforcement of that cold air, and then as we get after sunset, that'll help those temperatures to decrease below freezing and change everything over to all snow. And it's also going to snow here in eastern Nebraska on the backside of this low as that deformation zone begins to set up. That's the banding that happens on the northwest side of these surface lows right here. Deformation, basically you get convergence, you get lift here on the northwest side of the low, kind of a stretching out type of an action there with deformation, and you're changing over to all snow there. This is at 7 p.m. Des Moines is going to be snowing, and that deformation zone is going to pivot into the area this evening. Definitely got snow and some rain-snow mix in southern Wisconsin there into western Michigan. Begins as a period of rain, even in the winter storm warning area, but that's going to quickly change over to snow after sunset. Wet bulbing as well. Temperature is going to decrease. The dew point's going to rise. All snow then moving in late this evening across Des Moines. There's that deformation band of snow that you can see right there, hammering Omaha into Des Moines. Probably a good 2 to 4 inch type snowfall. And then the surface low begins to eject off to the northeast. A little warm advection precipitation out ahead of it here. Stripe of snow from southern Wisconsin through the winter storm warning area, including Big Rapids, Ludington areas there. Surface low slowly deepening. It's kind of your classic southern Michigan snowstorm with kind of a modest surface low that deepens just a few millibars, deepens to about 1,000 millibars, maybe a little bit lower than that. This track is just a little bit too far north for Grand Rapids to get in on the action, but if there were some colder surface temperatures or a big Arctic blast dominating the area before this storm system arrived, then Grand Rapids could get in on the snow as well. This is by 14Z, so by tomorrow morning, that snowfall is going to be peaking in southern lower Michigan, Ludington, Big Rapids. And I wouldn't be surprised if this snow event overperforms on the northern side of this deal. So Traverse City, up through areas to the north of Des Moines, could get a lot more snow. A little bit of lake enhancement too, right along the immediate shoreline there in Milwaukee. But with the lake temperatures so warm and this kind of being a borderline situation for snow, it definitely could change over to rain right along the immediate shoreline there in eastern Wisconsin. And dang it, I'm trying to shut down these texts. Everybody is all fired up this morning with winter weather happening non-stop. Text messages coming in. Sorry for that annoying noise that you guys are having to deal with. Need to figure out how to shut that thing off on my computer. But here's that surface low down there to the southwest of Kalamazoo at about 15Z, about 9 in the morning. About 12Z, 7. So yeah, about 9, 10 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. And it's raining in Grand Rapids there. Some deformation zone banding still hanging on here on the backside of this weird-shaped surface low. Northwestern Illinois, even Chicago could eventually change over and start to get some icing. And just for fun, let's look at a sounding right there in that icing zone and take a look at the strength of that warm nose. And you can look closely. This is the 0 temperature line. And there is just a little bit of a subtle warm nose that increases those temperatures just a little bit above freezing. And then those temperatures drop to very near 31, 32 degrees at the surface. Many of the snowflakes will develop in the mid-levels of the atmosphere where the vertical motion is maximized. That's where dendrites and big snowflakes develop. Down here is the upward motion here at the low levels of the atmosphere. This is from the warm advection uplift right there. That's contributing to the development of this warm nose, or those temperatures above freezing right there. Snowflakes falling into this, melting into raindrops, potentially refreezing into sleet particles, or maybe being more of a freezing rain here with the lower temperatures. Surface temperatures really borderline for frozen precipitation. Here you can see the northerly component wind, and then the warm advection just above that shallow layer, very shallow subtly below freezing, but really a borderline event. That's why Grand Rapids is going to be mostly rain. And this warm nose here just above the surface, maybe enough to melt those snowflakes falling in there into raindrops. And then as they fall into this near or sub-freezing narrow layer at the surface, there's a chance that there could be some icing, refreezing, maybe some sleet accumulation. Either way, though, that's definitely going to hold down those snowfall totals across lower Michigan there. But the stripe here from Ludington to the north of Big Rapids definitely looks to be the area that's going to be all snow. Look at a forecast sounding right there, deep in the snow zone. And here you can see those surface temperatures are a little cooler. Here's that 0 line, and that temperature in dew point, very saturated all the way up as you'd normally expect. A lot of lift here at 500 millibars in the core of that snow band. That lift in the mid-levels of the atmosphere is key to the development of those dendrites, or those big snowflakes that can contribute to prolific snowfall rates, snowfall accumulations. These dendrites then will fall in to any warm nose, but here you can see that warm nose remains below freezing. The surface temperature just below freezing. A little layer of cold air there, and then just a little bit of warming from the surface of the earth there, but really a sub-freezing layer, and the whole entire layer is below freezing, so that's kind of a classic snow sounding right there with that lift at 500 millibars where most of the dendrites form. It's pretty awesome to see the model here too show the very warm water temperatures of Lake Michigan there, keeping everything all rain right over the lake with this borderline situation. If this surface low track were a little bit further south through northeastern Indiana, through southeastern lower Michigan, that would bring that stripe of heavy snow down into the Grand Rapids area, but looks like this is mostly going to be a rain event, at least based on this model. And then once the surface low passes, you get just a little bit of a dive to the south of that rain snow line and that icing that happens. Surface low still deepening right over Grand Rapids as a 997 low. Just kind of an ugly day tomorrow. Ugly first half of the day. But see how the heavy snow moves back into the Traverse City area. So even though the winter storm watch appears to have been removed from this area with the winter storm warning a bit further south, these systems often overperform on the northwestern side. So I wouldn't be surprised if Traverse City ends up with more snow than is being forecast. This is at 20Z tomorrow. So this is at about 3 p.m. Surface low reaching its peak intensity there, 997 low. The next system, though, is going to be even more interesting. That's going to bring some snow down for Oklahoma City, northwestern Oklahoma as well. There's not going to be much in the way of lake effect on the backside of this system. There's just not a lot of cold air diving south out of Canada. But a little bit of snow hanging on in northern lower Michigan there. The upper level low really, or the surface low there starting to fill back in a bit. But really deepens from about 1,008 millibars from eastern Kansas into the upper 990s there in southwestern Michigan, bringing that deformation zone snow just to the northwest there. So let's now look at the 3-kilometer NAM during the day today. These go every 3 hours. This is at 18Z here, which is about noon Central Standard Time. Here you can see that deformation zone starting to organize here in eastern Nebraska into western Iowa. Rain here across central and eastern Iowa through the midday. And then it begins to change over to snow here across central Iowa, including the I-80 corridor by about 3 p.m. Central Time. Rain moving into southern Wisconsin and changing over to snow as it wet bulbs and those surface temperatures cool a bit. A little bit of dynamical cooling with the heavier precipitation. But then as the surface low passes just to the east, that's going to change everything over to snow by about 6 p.m. Between 4 and 6 p.m. Here across central Iowa, including the Des Moines area. Some heavier banding moves into the Omaha area, contributing to a couple inches of snow out there. Nothing extreme, but you can see a little bit of an invigoration out here as that deformation zone gets organized, passing from eastern Nebraska into western Iowa. Eventually overtaking central Iowa here with that upper level system off to the west, the deformation zone getting going. And then the precipitation, warm advection precipitation out ahead of it, spreading in some snow here across the winter storm warning area, southern Wisconsin as well. This is at 9Z. So then as we get toward about 6, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, you're getting some heavier snow here across southeastern Wisconsin with some colder air bleeding in. Probably going to have some rain right along the immediate Lake Michigan shoreline there with some enhanced precipitation off the lake. There you can see the rain snow line pretty far to the north. And look at Traverse City gets in on the action. These systems all so often overperform on the northwest side up here, and that's why I would put those winter storm warning alerts a little bit further north for this case, especially with some borderline thermodynamics for snow and some icing and some rain snow mix here. I think that Traverse City is going to get quite a bit of snow up there, and let's take a look at these snow maps and see exactly what these things are painting. So the high resolution NAM is showing double-digit snowfall totals for Traverse City, also for Ludington, Big Rapids as well, decreasing a bit over the Grand Rapids area. Has southeastern Wisconsin getting hammered, so maybe this lake enhancement does contribute to a bullseye over southeastern Wisconsin, at least if you believe the 3-kilometer NAM. A lot of people just throw out the NAM, but it's one of my favorite models. Here's the HRRR, also showing that shift to the north. And these snowfall totals are way overdone by the HRRR model. That's one thing I've noticed from this model is it might be a good way to kind of pinpoint the main axis of snowfall, but don't get too focused in on these exact amounts. It seems to be overdoing a bit of the lake enhancement as well over northeastern Lake Michigan there. Let's see what the GFS is showing. And the GFS also, as it's coming in hot, this is the 12Z GFS, a little further north, near double-digit snowfall totals, and Traverse City as well, a little bit north. So what I'm seeing as this new model guidance is coming in is it seems to be shifting the snowfall axis a bit further north, southeastern Wisconsin up toward Traverse City, more of a northern, lower Michigan type of an event. And that makes sense that there'd be a lot more snowfall up there with these borderline thermodynamics. The southern gradient here is likely just going to be a slushy couple of inches of snow mixing in with rain, some sleet pellets, borderline 32-degree freezing rain there as well, whereas Grand Rapids is going to be all rain, especially with this shift off to the north. A couple inches of snow, maybe a little bit more across eastern Nebraska, the higher terrain where that deformation zone really gets going. Possible deformation zone reinvigoration here, 2 to 4 inches across Des Moines. And then the main band really ramps up as that surface low deepens into the upper 990s here, spreading a decent band of snow off to the northwest. So that's the snow map for this system. So now let's take a look at the next kicker system that's coming in. This is a system right here, and it's a bit more of a cutoff system as it dives south. Just to the east of the Four Corners region, and this is more of a textbook configuration for Southern Plains snowfall. You get a bowling ball of an upper level system that tracks pretty close to the Red River, and that will usually bring some decent snowfall to Oklahoma City when you get this surface low track across North Texas. So the Red River brings the cold air, quite a bit of snow, some banding just to the north of it there. You can see that upper level system. It's going to be a quick shot of snow. You don't have a lot of flow on the backside of this system, which would lead to a more stagnant upper level pattern. The strong flow by Sunday evening is already rounding the base of this compact trough, which means it's going to be a very progressive system. And here's the third system coming into the Pacific Northwest there. That was the one that might have a chance of some severe weather. And then as this upper level system passes into Arkansas, that's going to shut off the snowstorm there for Oklahoma City. So let's look at the timing and arrival of this snow. So this is Sunday morning. Snowfall ongoing across the northern Texas panhandle to northwestern Oklahoma and southern Kansas as that upper level system is diving off to the south there. Positive vorticity advection ahead of this system. Some warm advection as well, exciting that precipitation, creating a lot of lift. And then as the system ejects, with all that flow along the southern and eastern periphery of that compact trough, it's going to be a very quick, fast-moving snowstorm. And to me, look how it peters out as it moves out to the east and really weakens. This looks to be like a northwest Oklahoma to northern Texas panhandle type of a peaking snow event out there. I would definitely head up toward the Woodward area, maybe Kingfisher. A couple of inches of snow there in Oklahoma City with that surface low track. Let's see where the NAM takes this thing. I always like to look at the upper level system first to kind of assess the shape of the upper levels. Here's that system diving south into the, look at all the flow on the back side of it right here. That tells me that it's going to continue to deepen and head down through the Four Corners region here. And then most of that flow will pass along the southern periphery of that upper trough. But this is a nice closed low diving south toward the Four Corners region. And then it ejects across North Texas and the Red River. And that is a decent track for northwestern Oklahoma to get in on the snow action. This is Saturday night at about 7 p.m. Still a lot of flow on the backside of this deepening trough. Still intensifying. A lot of snow will be spreading out over the northern Texas panhandle by this time. Well, not quite yet. The next started to move in there Saturday night. This is about 10 p.m. So you can really start to see that snow moving in with the upper level system across the western Oklahoma panhandle, northeastern New Mexico, Clayton, Boise City up there toward Dodge City. This is by 6Z, so this is midnight Saturday night. The snow band is consolidating. You got a surface low signature starting to form there as well ahead of this upper system. But this looks like a northern Texas panhandle, Oklahoma panhandle, southwestern Kansas, northwestern Oklahoma type of an event. Textbook. Look at that thing. So if you believe the NAM as opposed to the GFS, the NAM's going to have more snowfall here in the Oklahoma City area with quite a bit of banding setting up here. Big cold blob of an upper level system sliding through the southern plains. Minimal warm advection off to its east. Plenty of lift. Cold air. There's a 540 line surging down into northwest Texas there. And that's Sunday at 18Z, so at about 1 p.m. If we do look at a sounding here, this is the 0 line. Everything is below freezing, so it's not a question inside that banding beneath the cold upper level system what the precipitation type is going to be, at least according to the NAM. Deep layer of northerlies here, cold layer, sub-freezing layer throughout. Still quite a bit of vertical motion here at the upper levels of the atmosphere by this time, but that's starting to subside as the deformation zone is sliding off to the east. And here you can see that banding sliding in there to eastern Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas, southwestern Missouri there. The Ozarks are getting in on the action there by Sunday, late afternoon, according to the NAM. Eastern Oklahoma Ozarks event. Branson getting hammered Sunday through Sunday evening. So the NAM definitely has an eastward extension of this snow into the Ozarks, whereas the GFS is showing a little bit less of that. But I think there's probably going to be quite a bit of snowfall in the Ozarks, given the higher terrain there. Cold blob of an upper level system ejecting from the Rockies there. And here's what the aggressive NAM is showing. 6 to 8 inches of snow from Oklahoma City across the Tulsa area. Ozarks really get hammered. Double-digit snowfall totals there during the day, Sunday afternoon through Sunday evening across the Ozarks. So that stripe of snow. Let's shift on over to the GFS and see what it shows for this upper level system. A little bit less, not as much of cold air there, but I think that the GFS is struggling with those low level temperature profiles a bit. Still has several inches of snow though falling in the Ozarks there, the higher terrain with that very cold pocket of air aloft coming in. But the GFS has this being more of a northwest Oklahoma type of event, northern Texas panhandle, Woodward getting several inches of snow. And it all depends on the exact track and the shape of that 500 millibar ejection, that 500 millibar upper level system coming in. Hi, Pearson. Hi. How's it going? I'll be done in a second here. And here you can see this big blob, a bowling ball of an upper level system ejecting that track right along the Red River. This is the European model. So the European model definitely shows, and this is Sunday evening at 0Z, and the European has a less progressive system, a little bit deeper, more of a bowling ball shape there right along the Red River. So I imagine that the European really has a stout band of snow across central northeastern Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas, southwestern Missouri there. Certainly we'll get in on the action. This is the incredible Pivotal Weather website. But it looks like the there's the European swath of snow. Looks like it's struggling handling the terrain out there in, of the Ozarks, which you have some higher elevations out here, and you have a cold blob of air aloft with that upper level system. So I'm thinking that that's probably I'm going to side with a NAM on that, the big snowfall happening here in northwestern Arkansas over the higher terrain with this big blob of cold air, 540 line all the way down to Little Rock there. Tiger Woods' course, Paynes Valley up there, and Branson, Hollister area is going to get quite a bit of snow. Beautiful scenery out there in the Ozarks. Fayetteville looks like it's going to get a decent amount of snow from this. That's Sunday evening. Then the snow moves out on Sunday night. And then there's that coastal low starting to reach the western gradient of that Gulf Stream there. That one goes out to sea. And then we'll have to see what that next system does. And that's the one that might bring some severe weather around the 19th. And it's my nephew's birthday today. So I'm going to be cutting this live stream short. He's just turned 5 today. So happy birthday to Pearson. I'm about to go celebrate his birthday. But anyway, wanted to cover this live stream today to kind of cover some of the snowfall here. This 1-2 punch happening. And then you've got another system come barreling into California there around the 17th, 18th, or 19th. That could be a nor'easter type of a situation, maybe. Looks like it's going to be a little bit later, I'm afraid. Ooh, look at this system right here for severe weather around the 23rd. That could be pretty crazy. Or right about the 23rd. Good heavens me. But this is La La Land, but I think there's going to be a Dixie Alley event here, maybe around 22nd, 23rd. Eventually it's going to happen. Eventually it's going to pull this moisture northward through the Gulf of Mexico into the instability axis here. And I do think that eventually we're going to get some severe weather, and we'll be covering that, monitoring this nonstop. This is way out there, like 10 to 12 days out. But definitely the trend is for an active pattern here across the central and eastern U.S. Quite a bit of chasing opportunities. Looks like quite a bit of snow across the central Rockies happening there. Definitely a interesting pattern, exciting pattern to be a weather enthusiast, to stay tuned to this. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in to my weather reports. I'm going to go celebrate my nephew's 5th birthday here. Never stop chasing. Hopefully you snoo lovers enjoy this. Go dominate that snowfall. Be sure to send me some videos. I'll retweet, share them on social media. Never stop chasing.